Did I mention that these conditions are tough? G'day and welcome to another Mongrel Dog production, and welcome to these unique statues here on Lake Ballard in Western Australia. This trip is all about completing some unfinished business on the Canning stock route. Both Chris and I plan to return to the stock route and complete Wells 9 down to 1 after failing to complete it last year due to a catastrophic failure involving one of the vehicles. And JP, he's just along for the ride. Anyway, grab your gear, let's go. Here's a small tip for you. If you're in a small group, or even if you're on your own, it's worth an idea to make one of these ICE cards. It's simple enough, just essential information, name, date of birth, perhaps daily medications, any allergies, and stick it in a place where it's going to be found, or at least let the group know where it can be found. That way first responders have got some information, and at worst case they could identify the body. Well, we find ourselves in familiar territory, back in Australia's outback. We're somewhere in Western Australia on another trip, another adventure. If you're wondering what's happened to my screen, that's what happens when you're trying to make yourself a custom screen and you overcook it. The melting temperature for Perspex is 160 degrees, and I cranked up the oven a bit much. But anyway, that aside, yeah, we're currently on our way to do part of the Canning stock route. With me again is JP and Chris. Chris and I are on DR650s. JP's on his Africa Twin. Left Perth yesterday. Easy day yesterday, only did about, I don't know, 460 kilometres I guess. And today won't be a big day either. By the end of today we'll be around Walloona. So yeah, on our way to the Canning stock route. Last year Chris and I did the Canning stock route with a small group of four-wheel drives. We ended up having a catastrophic failure on one of the vehicles. One of the rear wheels effectively fell off, snapped the axle and the axle housing, and that vehicle had to be abandoned at well 15. And we ended up exiting the Canning stock route at well 9. So yeah, Chris and I going back to finish off Wells 9 down to 1. JP is going to actually enter the stock route from the south and meet us in the middle for different reasons, which I'll explain later. So yeah, we've got some unfinished business to get completed.
Well, here's another tip for young players. If you are going remote, going outback, you need to be able to contact first responders in the case of an emergency. In this case, we've got both satellite trackers, a spot tracker which has an SOS function, SOS capability, which acts as an EPIRB, and also a satellite phone which has been preloaded with certain phone numbers of those first responders in and around the area that we're operating in.
We're just about to pull in the sandstone. JP's going to have to refuel. Chris and I have both got long range tanks on, so we'll be okay. Yeah, he'll refuel and we'll get a bite to eat, maybe a cup of coffee before we head off towards Walloona. I just wanted to, Chris is on his brand new 650, DR 650. He had a previous one which did over 100,000 kilometres, and they would have been all adventure riding type kilometres. And ordinarily I don't endorse a product, but I just got to say, I mean, the DR 650, certainly here in Australia, is known as the tractor of the desert. Simple technology, reliable. I wouldn't go so far as to say bulletproof, but certainly a popular choice amongst adventure riders, not only here in Australia but also globally. So yeah, 100,000 kilometres for a single cylinder thumper. That's not a bad record. Yeah, his was getting a bit tired, so he decided to buy a new one. The models haven't changed for at least 20 years. So yeah, in this case, like I say, simple technology, certainly proving to be a very reliable workhorse here in Australia at least. Well, we're just approaching Walloona now. We're all going to have to fill up our fuel tanks to the max, as well as top up or fill up our bladders, our fuel bladders, because we're going to need every possible kilometre for the next part. We've also got to make sure we've got a couple of days worth of food and water, although water is available at Wellsix, Pierre Springs. There's good water there, or so I'm led to believe. Yeah, from here, JP will go on the stock route from the south, heading north, and Chris and I will come in at well 9 and head south, but from the north, and hopefully we'll all meet up in the middle somewhere.
Well, here's another tip for the inexperienced. Always carry an alternative to your electronic devices for navigation, like your GPS. That way, if the electronic devices fail, you've still got the ability to navigate using paper maps.
Okay, now we're going two separate ways. We separate here. We've just gone through some lost comms procedure, an action if lost procedure if we don't meet up in a couple of days' time. It's obviously important because it's a big wilderness out there. So yeah, we've talked about actions if lost or lost comms procedure. JP has actually done the canning stock route a couple of times on a motorbike. He's got no desire to do any more of it again than he has to. So yeah, he's gonna get on it and start heading north, and we'll meet him somewhere in the middle. Yeah, he remembers it was challenging, pretty damn hard, and that doesn't surprise me. So yeah, anyway, we'll get out of town and find a bush camp, and start heading towards Glen Ale Station tomorrow at well 9. Alright, we're just looking for a place for a bush camp. We just found a track that I think might pay dividends. The only thing you're looking for is to get off the road far enough so people can't see your fire at night. And it's only got to be big enough for two of us now, so you only want to be far enough away so that you can't hear the bloke snoring or farting next to you. I think if we just get the other side of this tree line, that should be fine. I don't think that's going to be a road that sees much traffic after sunset. Lots of dead timber around for a fire. It's clear, not rocky. Yeah, lots of options here. Big cleared area for a fire, can't go wrong. Oh, look at all that dead timber, beautiful.
Well, here's another tip for you young players. Depending on how remote you're going, you might want to consider taking with you a survival kit. This one was developed for Australian Special Forces. I've been carrying it around for years. And it's not about being a doomsday prepper, but you talk to anybody who's left for work that morning or gone for that bike ride or for that bushwalk, and the last thing they expected was to find themselves in a survival situation. Now, I've had this one for years, taken it everywhere. I won't unpack it because I'll never be able to put everything back together. But I'll put up a diagram of typical items in this survival kit, or some others like it. And you don't have to spend big money getting these things. You can buy them commercially. But you can put yourself one together quite easily. Just get yourself a soapbox holder, any other small container, and just fill it with the items that you think might be necessary to help you survive out in the bush if you get stranded. Not a bad idea. Well, we've made it to well 9. This is effectively the start point for us. From here we head south
back to Walluna. To get here we had to go through private station country, and we needed the landowner's permission to use his tracks to get here, which he did. He gave us his blessing. So yeah, from here we expect the conditions to get a little bit tougher. Probably have to pick our line the whole way, I think. But yeah, let the fun begin.
It's not easy out there. People are always saying you can't, that you shouldn't, that you're not smart enough, not good enough. This world, it beats you up again and again until eventually most people, they just stop trying. But you're not like that. You're a fighter. You always have been.
What a mongrel of an introduction to the Canning Stock Route. What a horrible afternoon. It's been tough. The conditions have been tough. The bikes are heavy. It's hot. All the ducks just lined up against us. Anyway, we're at Wellsix. We've probably pushed on a little bit harder than we would have normally. I mean, the sun is still up. It's about 20 minutes before sunset, but we just wanted to make it here because I knew there was good quality water here. Well, g'day and welcome to Wellsix. I trust you slept well. I know Chris and I both did. Welcome to Wellsix, Pierre Springs. I'll give you the tour. Long drop dunny up on the hill. Beautiful. Huge campsite with lots of shade. Lots of fire pits. Some information boards about the locals, but most importantly, a reconditioned well with good quality water.
Others have seem to have a valve in the bottom. The other one.
Oh, we're about to leave Wellsix. I'm a bit anxious. We've got 200 kilometres to go to the main road. I'm not even sure if we're going to make it today, unless the conditions improve markedly. Yeah, it's going to be 25-30 kilometres an hour, picking a line the whole way. Anyway, see you on the other side.
It's hard living. Life is hard.
Life is not easy at all. There's gonna be challenges. You're gonna get beat down.
And that tough situation is making you want to stop.
And you will fail sometimes. And that's okay. That's okay as long as you get back up.
Take that next step. Keep moving forward.
And no matter what, do not quit.
These conditions are tough. Tougher than we anticipated. We are between well 5 and 6. We're going to get to well 5 and maybe exit out of there through Granite Peaks, because this is tough going. Well, we've made it to well 5. I think this is going to be the turning point for us. We can exit the Canning Stock Route at well 5 and go through private homestead Granite Peaks, and I think that's the safest thing for us to do. Could we continue on the Canning Stock Route? Maybe. Would it be the wisest thing to do? Probably not. So we'll cut our losses. We'll take the smart option, I think, and head out through Granite Peak. And let that be a lesson to you young grasshoppers. Know your limits, all right? There's no shame in that. And secondly, make sure you make clear decisions where you've still got the ability to think, all right? You're not dehydrated, you're not distressed.
don't leave it too late.
Right, we're just about to leave our bush camp. This is day 5, morning of day 5. Yesterday Chris and I exited at 5, which we both agree was the smart thing to do. And we exited through Granite Peak Station. We had to call in there and get a few litres of fuel, only because getting out that way was going to be longer than our original planned trip. So they were happy enough to sell us a few litres of fuel. And yeah, from there we regrouped at Welluna. JP has rejoined us, so we're back to 3. And from here we'll go to Sandstone and then head towards Menzies and the Goldfields. Just another tip for the newbies. It's midwinter here in the southern hemisphere, and yesterday Chris and I experienced 30-degree temperatures. We're currently in what we call the desert riding season. You wouldn't want to be out in the outback during the summer months, because that's just asking for trouble. Well, this is the morning of day 8 for us. This will be our last day. We'll be back in Perth, back home today. Yesterday we experienced some very cold and wet conditions, which made the going a bit tricky. And as a result of that, and the chance of more rain, we decided last night that we would book into the local pub. So we did that, and I think that was the smart choice. So yeah, today will be our last day. We're only a couple of hours out of Perth, but we're not taking the most direct route home. We'll mix it up a little. But you wouldn't expect too much to go wrong between here and there. So with that being said, you know what that means. We'll see you on the other side.